Welcome back to BNC. Well, this country, of course, is founded on immigrants, many from different countries. Vice President Kamala Harris is the most notable person of Caribbean heritage here in the U.S. and abroad. She and others with her heritage are being celebrated this month. Since 2006, June has been designated as National Caribbean American Heritage Month by a presidential proclamation. Congresswoman Barbara Lee of California has been at the forefront in recognizing the achievements of Caribbean immigrants in America.
I'm Congresswoman Barbara Lee, and I proudly represent California's beautiful 13th Congressional District, which includes Oakland and Berkeley, California. I am so pleased to bring celebratory greetings on the 16th official celebration of National Caribbean American Heritage Month.
And joining me now is the founding chair of the Campaign for Caribbean American Heritage Month, Dr. Claire Nelson, who is also a futurist and has her doctorate in engineering. And her book called Smart Futures will be coming out later this summer. Welcome to BNC Live, Dr. Nelson.
Thank you so much for having me, Laverne McGee.
Very happy to have you. So tell us, how did Caribbean American Heritage Month come about, and why is it even necessary?
Well, about, I would say, 1999 or thereabouts, a little birdie told me that it was very important that we think about how we'd organize differently in order to get our concerns, especially on U.S. foreign policy, heard. And of course, the immigration debate at the time was also heating up very badly. There's always that immigration debate in this country. And so around 1999, we had our first event on Capitol Hill. We had our first White House meeting, and we began the campaign then to declare June as Caribbean American Heritage Month. Fast forward, Barbara Lee came on board. She entered the resolution into the House in 2004, 2005. It passed in 2005. Then Senator Chuck Schumer took it to the Senate, and it passed the Senate in February 2006. June 2006, President George Bush signed proclamation. Now, why is it necessary? Well, in order to sort of benefit from the democracy that works for all in this country, there are many hyphenated Americans, special interest groups, lobbyists, etc., advocating on behalf of this democracy in order for it to work. And therefore, in order for Caribbean Americans to benefit the way, for example, the Jews have in terms of the Israeli issue, those of us who consider ourselves America's third border in the Caribbean have to organize likewise. And so Caribbean American Heritage Month serves to, first of all, give us visibility as a group, as a cohort, gives us voice, and finally, to help us as Caribbean Americans find agency to begin to organize, to speak, to participate in local, regional, and national politics, especially as it impacts on issues like immigration and U.S. foreign policy, which is very near and dear to the work that we do at ICS.
And I also have to make note, of course, that when you think about Black Americans, that includes Caribbean Americans, but we've really seen in this last election that Black people are not a monolith. There's different opinions and views, and would you say Caribbean Americans are part of that?
Oh, very much widely ranging views. We have Caribbean people on the Democratic side, on the Republican side, and the non-Aryan side, right? We have Caribbean Americans who are Black. We have quite a large Indo-Caribbean community in Queens, New York, for example, and a few Asian/Chinese types. So we have a very broad mix. I would say the majority of Caribbean people who are immigrants consider themselves African American. We check that box in the census, and we check our country of heritage, and that could be Jamaica, Guyana, Trinidad, Bahamas, you name it. We include the Dutch Caribbean, Aruba, really a broad conscious. People ask me, who is Caribbean really? Are U.S. Virgin Islands Caribbean? Are Puerto Ricans Caribbean? Yes, that is the case, but I like to say that unfortunately, the Puerto Ricans and the Dominican Republic people tend to organize under the Hispanic heritage movement, and so we have lost them in our count. So now we're trying to negotiate a sort of remarriage of Spanish-speaking Caribbean people into our Caribbean count. Needless to say, the census numbers begin to show us really that, we're a lot. And to be honest, Caribbean people have been coming here from before America became independent. Caribbean people, Haitians, for example, Haitian soldiers were sent to fight in the Revolution War before America. Caribbean immigrants, or I shouldn't say immigrants, Caribbean slaves were part of the slave trade brought to Charleston, brought to Boston, New York. So there's always been this historical link between the US and the Caribbean, then
Right.
those and the British territories.
Right. So, who are some notable Caribbean Americans other than Vice President Kamala Harris, who, of course, is the most famous one right now? Who else has made contributions to American society that are of Caribbean heritage?
Well, in the current administration, of course, we also have Ambassador Susan Rice. We also have General Colin Powell. And there on the screen, we see Rick Fox and Shirley Raff, Sidney Poitier, James Weldon Johnson, who wrote the Black National Anthem, Stokely Carmichael, Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm X. These are all people who count in their heritage Caribbean blood, West Indian blood, their parents, a parent, a grandparent, a Caribbean heritage, Cicely Tyson, you name it, athletes. There's so many people that it often doesn't, people don't often know because they are so embedded in African American society. But I always like to talk about our role in the civil rights movement. People like Michael Thelwell and Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture are two of the most famous in that movement. And I really like to emphasize that when people say, Caribbean people are just coming here to sort of suck the bread out of American people. We come and we contribute also to making America a great democracy.
And Dr. Nelson, what's your heritage?
My heritage is Jamaican, and if any Jamaicans are watching this, I am a Yardie. I came here to go to college and stayed on, and I came here to do engineering, went to Buffalo, went to Purdue. Yes, I'm a Boilermaker, went to George Washington, and now practice, as you've heard, as a sustainability engineer. And I'm very proud to be Jamaican, especially with the vice president. And how could I forget Shirley Chisholm? Unbought and unbossed, my personal Sheeran, right? I really, again, a faith personality that's helped create the American dream.
Well, there's so many more people that we could even name on that list, of course. Myself, full disclosure, I am a Trini, which you know that, Dr. Nelson. But again, I think the idea here, is that, again, Black people are not a monolith. And this Caribbean heritage, this Caribbean culture is so much a part of American culture when it comes to the music and the food and that sort of thing. Would you agree?
Oh, definitely. People don't know that hip hop, for example, it's claimed that DJ Kool Herc started hip hop in the Bronx. And so we think about Biggie Smalls and Heavy D, some of the early pioneers, right? They too count Jamaican heritage. Now, of course, we see Nicki Minaj and those people in the current new crop of hip hop artists. But even, when I think about in Hollywood, we have people like Reno Wilson in Hollywood. The CCH Pounder. There's so many faces you see on TV that are American, sound American, were born
we could
American.
go on.
The name can go on. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Nelson. We appreciate you joining us here, and happy Caribbean American Heritage Month to you.
Thank you for having me, and people, please check us out at www.celebratejune.org. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much. And stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back after this quick break.